Welcome to Crackin' a Cold One. Just goes super pukey.
I might just start there. I might just start there.
Shock jock.
That is where the episode starts.
Welcome
to Crackin' a Cold One.
Whoa!
What is going on, guys? Welcome to an episode of Crackin' a Cold One.
It's well, I'm glad to have made my mark. I think I've earned my paycheck for the week. I'm out. See you guys later.
Welcome back to another episode. I mean, it's only been 2 years. No hate here. No hate. All peace and love. And yeah, we're back. We're here drinking a little bit. Me, not so much. Our boy Ethan here. Our boy Ethan here has been drinking Modelo. Is that right? With lime or without?
No, not with lime. Just a lazy Modelo.
That is a crime.
I know. But you know, I realized the name of the podcast. It had to happen. You're drinking a coffee.
Yeah.
So somebody has to be on brand.
We'll just say it's spiked with Baileys.
Yeah, we'll say that.
Yeah, I don't use creamer. I use Baileys.
But yeah, thanks for getting me on the podcast, man. I'm excited to start season 2 here with you.
Yes, season 2.
It is. It's season 2. It's like one of those. It's like one of those. You like mini series that is so good, but you have to wait. Like This is the podcast version of Sherlock.
I would definitely not go that far. I still haven't finished Sherlock, and that shit was only 3 episodes.
Oh, come on. It's not. That's only one. Oh, man. Okay.
The first season is 3 episodes, right. But each episode is like an hour each, which isn't a podcast within itself.
We found our first topic. We found our first topic. Like, you hate Sherlock, and I'm upset with you for it.
No, I hate Benedict Cumbersnatch.
Oh man, come on!
No, I don't hate Benedict.
You can't hate him. He actually seems like a decent dude. I don't know. With my luck, it'll turn out he, touched somebody.
He's on the list.
Yeah,
right. But listen, I don't want to name any names because I don't want Jimmy Kimmel coming after my ass. Okay.
Yeah, right. Did he go to Schmepstein's Island?
I'll tell you what, though. Today he went on an 8-minute rant or it was yesterday, I believe. Yesterday, or the day before that, where the show came back, first episode of the year, and I don't even watch late night shows anymore. I used to watch Conan back in the day, but yeah, that was literally it. And he went on an 8-minute straight up rant on Aaron Rodgers and how big of a fucking idiot he is.
Good. I mean. Listen, Aaron Rodgers, I don't know what glue he's been sniffing to get past the pain of being too old to play.
But a doctor probably told him it was good for him, that glue. This Elmer's will clear all your sinuses. This Elmer's will prevent you from getting any sort of COVID that you're allergic to.
Well, he's always
whatever it was. He said that he was allergic to something in one of the vaccines. That's why.
Oh my god! Listen, people can make their own minds up about vaccines, but that doesn't matter so much. What I think to me, what matters is that he's just an idiot at anything he does, other than sling a rock.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
That's the one thing he's good at.
Yeah,
let me rephrase. It's the one thing he used to be good at.
He's still pretty good. Just, he has to get on the field, and not have some broken ankles. Yeah. But the reason why Jimmy Kimmel was on Aaron Rodgers' shit list in the first place was because he made fun of him for the whole vaccine thing. And anybody who makes fun of Aaron Rodgers for the vaccine situation that he caused by saying that he was immunized to the entire media and straight up lied about it. And then when people come back and say, "Hey, that was a dick move," he said, "Well," and then he gives the media shit for him lying. I don't really get that. He's like, "Well, it was a version of being immunized." What? No. That's not the way it works, pal. And again, I don't give a fuck. I don't give 2 squirts of piss, what you do with your life. I really do not care. Because there are some people in the NFL that didn't get vaccinated, and we don't talk about them because we don't care. But you lied, so that's why people care, and that's why people like Jimmy Kimmel make fun of you. And it's funny how you couldn't take a joke about making fun of your vaccination status, and then you accuse people of being pedophiles. But I digress. I don't even really like Jimmy Kimmel that much, but I think I don't know.
We don't have to prescribe, I guess, any virtue to any one person to be able to say that dude's super sensitive, right? Like, I remember back, I actually had to look this up, but Deadspin has an article back from 2012 about how sensitive he is about his height, right? Like, this is it's a known commodity, right? In speaking for the short community, right? Like, I don't tower over people. Like, get over it, seriously, or wear taller shoes. I don't know. Put some extra height on your cleats. I mean, he's
so, the dude's so full of himself, and I'm kind of here for it. I'm kind of here for that he's a bumbling buffoon who thinks that he's the smartest person in the room. I'm not gonna lie, I smile from somebody being that ignorant. It's very amusing to me.
I found a perfect quote. Again, Deadspin from 2012. We'll give Barry Pacheski all the credit.
Got you.
In this article, they end with this. That's okay. Quarterbacks are humans too, but it's delightful and maybe a little incongruous that Aaron Rodgers' teammates need to give him daily affirmations to keep him from moping like a sullen teenager. And you know what? 12 years later, I still feel like those words are relevant.
More than ever.
Oh man, this guy could see into the future. Good job. Good job, you.
And really around that time, no one really had a problem with him all that much.
I guess that's the question, right? Like, as this guy has gotten old, and they keep wheeling him out of a retirement home to play when his osteoporosis isn't acting up on him. Like,
osteoporosis.
But every it seems like he's gotten more grumpy and more senile. Like, how long is it gonna take before we've got stories about him yelling at people to get out of his lawn? It's just, dude needs to take a chill pill, man. You're 6'2", you're one of the best quarterbacks that's ever done it, and yet you sound like Gwyneth Paltrow talking about goop. Come on, man.
Which, by the way, great candle. But I will give Jimmy Kimmel this. This was like
brings back a lot of memories.
Brings back a lot of memories for Rupert. Which we will get to Rupert later. I will give Jimmy Kimmel this. He basically went on to say, like, why are we going to take scientific advice from a man who didn't graduate community college, went to Cal on a football scholarship, didn't even graduate college at Cal, and the only A's he ever saw on his report card were from the name Aaron.
You know what? Good for Kimmel.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, I really try to stress, like, I'm really not a fan of any of the late night shows. I think all of them. I feel like my problem is with late night shows is I get, they've always in some sense talk politics. I don't care if it's right, left. I don't care. But my thing is, the reason I liked Conan, is because, like, I'm not going to sit here and say it never was brought up. It definitely was from time to time, but it was very toned down compared to every other late night show, especially since 2016 or 2014, 2015. Yeah. And I feel like every fucking late night show now is, all right, what's the latest news on Trump? What's the latest news on Biden? And it's like, I'm over it. I was over it in like 2018. And the thing is, so like me giving Kimmel praise on this isn't me being a huge fan of him, because I know that's how people take it sometimes, is you praise somebody for one thing and now all of a sudden you're their biggest fan. No, that's not the case. But I have to give him his props here.
Yeah. And not to, I don't know. We can definitely go down a rabbit hole about how entertainment has changed and how we seem to not be able to differentiate between entertainment and politics, and that's, I don't think that that's this podcast, but
It's
I
and
think that
it's also the same thing with comedy in general. Like everything's changed in the past
uh,
5, 6, 7 years. Everything's fucking changed.
yeah, we've definitely coarsened our rhetoric. Like we're not doing a good job of understanding real life, and we want everything to be the Kardashians, right? And not everything can be or should be. And
Thank Christ.
yeah, I think that, just, hey, we'll get back to drinking beers and cracking silly jokes in a second, but I think that something that a lot of people have just lost sight of, right, is not everything needs to be another gate. We used to, there's so much angst and anger over things that, hey, they may even matter, but because everything is a crisis and everything is a scandal, there's no room anymore for people to test out ideas or have conversations or try things out without worrying what it's going to do to their career, because everything is always at 11. And so
Yep.
when you see idiots like Aaron Rodgers, right, who deserves to be made fun of because he's ridiculous, but because everybody else has also been put at that level of ridiculous, right? We can't distinguish anymore between what's actually ridiculous and what we should actually make fun of, and what isn't. And so we've all like kind of gone into our own little camps, and we just don't act like friends and neighbors anymore. It's all what ideology do you cling to? What camp do you belong to? What category can I put you in so that I can praise you or shame you based off of that alone? Like, no one gets to know the person underneath anymore, because everything seems to be a 288 character tweet, and anything that's not is too much for us to understand. And that's not what we need to do.
And the thing is also, right, is like, I just remember as a kid, one of the things you just don't ask somebody is their political, their side. You don't ask them, well, what do they think
Yeah.
about politics? Because it's just something that people just don't do. It was just an unspoken rule. It's okay to have conversations, but it's just something that you don't do because it can ruin friendships. It can ruin relationships.
Yeah.
And now, as a society, we have turned that completely on its back, and we have to know what their stances are on everything in order to have a relationship with people.
Yeah. 100%. And it seems to drive people further away from each other. Let's take, for example, getting back on theme, going back to Star Wars. Let's take Gina Carano. Let's talk about Gina Carano for 2 seconds.
Oh boy.
Right? Hey, I'm gonna just jump right into it. But I think I'm gonna take a slightly different approach than most everybody else. Do you know who I don't go to for medical advice?
Who's
Gina
that?
Carano.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care what she thinks, really. By the way, Gina Carano started by saying some things that were fairly innocuous. Like, I can understand why people might have been sensitive about it, but also I don't understand why they cared so much about what Gina Carano thought about pronouns. I don't. I don't understand why that could hurt somebody as much as it does. And maybe that's just because that's not my, I haven't experienced that. And I'm open to somebody who, as long as you don't yell at me while you tell me stuff.
I'll yell
I'm
at
open.
you.
I know. But I don't understand why we started down that road, and then you can just see somebody who flipped out in the public light because she's a public figure, so of course we're going to see it. But you know, if I got all of the hate and discontent that she did, I might not be so willing to listen to another side. I might also like sit in my foxhole and go, well, nope, this is where I'm at, and and just find my people, as crazy as they might be.
Oh yeah, but I think that
know?
situation, I don't think it's as black and white as people make it out to be. But at the same time, I'm not trying to defend Disney. I'm not defending the mouse, right? It's weird because this situation, it has two sides to it, where it's like, yeah, well, why did they get up all in arms about pronoun tweets and what she had to say about medical advice, yada yada yada. But then there's the side of, well, she was warned multiple times to stop it, and if she didn't stop it, there will be consequences. There will be action taken, and she ignored it, and then she was fired.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like, a lot of places, or in a lot of situations, there are people that weren't warned. They were just fired, a la James Gunn, about stuff that they already knew about.
Yeah.
Like, so when it comes to that, I'm like, okay, well, she was given every opportunity to stop, but now she chose not to stop, and cool. Like, no one's actually, nobody, not a whole lot of people are hating on her for not stopping. People are actually praising her more than the opposite, or than the latter, I should say.
And I think that's why maybe I'm a little more comfortable talking about Gina Carano than some of the other ones, right? Because there were consequences, and she was given the opportunity to avoid those consequences, and she made a values choice, right? And I'm not saying values were right. I also don't agree with a lot of the stuff she said very, very strongly. I really, really don't. I guess my only point is that there used to be a time when we wouldn't go to celebrities for things
Advice
like
on
that.
anything.
I feel
Advice
like,
on
right?
literally anything.
Like
And now people are so in. I hate to use the word simp, but like, there's a lot of people in this simp culture where it's like, we have to, like, if we're big fans of somebody, whatever they say is true. Whatever
yeah.
comes out of their mouth is fact. And if you disagree, you're an enemy. It's absolutely pathetic.
Yeah. I think that pretty much sums it up really, really well for me. That's perfect, because I don't think there is a single person ever that I've 100% agreed with all the time. That just doesn't happen. And so if you're finding yourself doing that, you really have to start,
Except Henry Cavill. I agree
like,
with everything when it comes to Henry Cavill.
he is a beautiful man. I'm not
The most
I
beautifulest.
listen, I am 100% straight, but if he wanted to cuddle me, I think I'd let it happen. I just give
I
him
will be Little Spoon any day to Henry. Call me.
100%. But yeah,
My
I think
Superman.
I think it's cool that and just to give you props for a second, but I think it's really cool that I've been able to find people like you and friends like you that we can just have a conversation. And you and I don't agree on everything. We certainly do not agree on
we
everything.
disagree about a lot of shit, but we don't
100%.
like. But but we don't like to think that we would let it get to a point of ruining a friendship is like fucking blasphemy. Like,
Yeah,
it's so
exactly.
childish.
Exactly. And I think that that's something that a lot of people have lost, and I think that that's sad, right? Because I think that even disagreements can, not only can they not ruin friendships, but I think that they can actually strengthen friendships, right? Because if you are living under the impression that you in somebody else are just 100% you think the same thoughts. You live in this groupthink environment where everything has to be exactly the same. What a beige world that would be. There would be no differences. There would be nothing that makes people challenge each other, that makes people think new thoughts. I've learned a ton of stuff from you, right? Like,
Yeah.
there are, like the things that we've talked about that I go, oh wow, I've never really thought about that. Oh shoot, like, oh man, like that's pretty cool. That's a new way of looking at things. Dude, that's awesome. And
Right.
so, I look at people that don't do that, that don't have the skill and the emotional intelligence to be able to have those kinds of conversations with people. And I'm not mad at them. I'm sad. I'm sad for them. They're missing out.
Yeah. I'm sad that Gina Carano's no longer in Mandalorian. But
You know,
Mandalorian is still continuing
what a segue. All right, I like it. Go
with a
for it.
movie. Yes, you heard me right. The
With a
Mandalorian and Grogu is becoming a movie. Nobody asked for this. But anyway, Jon Favreau
You know
and
what? You know what
Lucasfilm.
else nobody asked for? Chef. And Favreau knocked that out of the park. So
That's
you know
not.
what?
No. It's completely different. All right. Jon Favreau, Lucasfilm head, Kathleen Kennedy, and Lucasfilm chief creative officer Dave Filoni will produce the feature, which the studio said will be the first Star Wars movie to go into production since 2019's The Rise of Skywalker, or otherwise known as shit. There has been speculation that the film starring Daisy Ridley would be the first out the gate, but it appears the project will take longer to hit hyperspace, says The Hollywood Reporter. I have to straight up say that while this isn't the worst idea ever, because The Mandalorian might be one of the only things that the Star Wars fandom is still gravitating towards as like something that isn't fracturing the fandom. Now, while season 3 wasn't the greatest and definitely all over the place, especially towards the latter half of the season, which I feel like Disney shows in general have a terrible problem with hitting the landing. Like almost every single Disney show, whether it's Marvel, just Disney shows in general, or Star Wars, almost every single show starts out great and always ends either or just not good. I don't remember the last time a show just straight up stuck the landing. Even shows like WandaVision that are like
Yeah.
held in high regard. Like I don't everybody's like, okay, the Marvel shows, blah, 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 but WandaVision was good. Like that's always what I hear from people. But even WandaVision didn't stick the landing. The only thing I can really think that stuck the landing was Mandalorian season 2, because that ending was wanting people to come back and wanting new Mandalorian right here, right now. Whereas season 3 kind of didn't. I'm just kind of like, okay, well, we'll see what happens next, I guess. But this kind of goes back to the problem with Star Wars. There's no fucking plan. There's no plan. And I'm fucking tired of it. So, and here's the thing, right? Later on in the day, there was a lot of uproar on the Twitters and the X's of the world saying, so is season 4 not happening? Is season 4 not a thing anymore? Well, apparently season 4 is still happening alongside the new Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which, by the way, if it's called The Mandalorian and Grogu, that is a dumb title. Potentially making matters even more exciting, a new movie will go into production later this year, and it would seem unlikely that we would get a season 4 of the series anytime soon, though it would be possible that The Mandalorian could pivot away from Din Djarin, instead focus on Katie Sackhoff's Bo-Katan Kryze, like they've suggested in the past, saying that The Mandalorian isn't just about one person.
It's in the name. The singular Mandalorian. First off, just to be pedantic.
And the thing is, right? Like I said, I don't think the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is at the surface a bad idea. I really don't, because like I said, at the end of the day, it is one of the projects that from Disney where people aren't completely shitting on it 24/7.
It's their most successful IP.
Yeah.
From a fan base buy-in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
I would say
mean,
from a review standpoint, from a review standpoint, I would say definitely Ahsoka's getting up there, but again, didn't really stick the landing with a whole lot of people. It's getting a season 2, but it didn't stick the landing for a lot of people. To me, this just screams desperate. Like, because the thing is, right? You see all this the Star Wars stuff that's coming out, right? We have the Acolyte that's coming out, which from what I'm seeing and hearing, I'm hearing more stuff. I could be wrong, but that's just what I'm hearing. I'm hearing more than good. We have that one show with what's his face? It's Skeleton Crew. Who cares? Who cares about Skeleton Crew? Look, I am going to sit here and say, like, I'm great. I'm glad we're getting something new with new characters and stuff like that. I get it. But I'm sick of the same era. I want to move on. And that's coming from somebody who's a big prequel fan. That's somebody who's a big Darth Vader fan. That's coming from me. I want to move on. I want to move 150, 200 years either into the past or the future. I want to be done.
I think you and me and I think a lot of Star Wars fans, I think that we care an awful lot about the story, right? I mean, I'm a little older than you are, but I really did. I came up on the but I came up on the original trilogy, right? To me, that is Star Wars. There are a couple of things in that original trilogy that I feel like, especially this new generation, the House of Mouse generation, really is not doing a good job of. And I think it really ties into your point about sticking the landing. But I think it starts right at the beginning. And it is that, for Luke, his power was really earned, right? We get to see them go through adversity. You get to see them grow and change as the story goes on. He gains powers. He has struggles, and he has things where you're not sure whether he's going to get out of. Like Empire Strikes Back is in a lot of people's minds one of the best Star Wars movies, if not the best Star Wars movie.
And the main character goes through trial and error. He fails, and you see how he succeeds.
And although he succeeds eventually, it doesn't end on a good note. They don't win the penultimate battle at the end of that story. There are still questions. There are still,
it's a big ass galaxy, dude. Like they destroyed the Death Star. They did, Vader, Emperor, but like, why can't we just move forward? Why does it? Because to me, right, I feel like every time we try to tie in these movies, or try to tie in new projects into these movies, not always, but sometimes it lessens the movies.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Now, I get it. It doesn't. I kind of go on both sides of the argument, because for me, something else doesn't make this worse necessarily. Like I always say, if people remake Back to the Future, right? Like, if you remake Back to the Future, people will freak the fuck out. They will literally like scream and type so many tweets about how stupid it is. But my argument is, okay, it doesn't erase the original, right? It doesn't just kick that out of history and then just, okay, this is the new version. You could only ever watch this version now. It doesn't do that. So it's like, cool, remake it. Like, it doesn't really bother me that much because I will always keep it, have the original. But when it comes to Star Wars, right, to me it's a little different because they keep wanting to connect everything and having everything be one and saying that this happened during this or this happened during that. And while I understand that it is a big galaxy, a lot of stuff happens. A lot of things can and have happened. To me, it's just we're getting to the point where it's so repetitive.
They have told the same exact story over and over and over again. And then when they branch out, they try to do something. And I feel like they have. I feel like in their heart of hearts, there were probably some writers and there were probably some directors that tried to do something that different. And obviously it didn't land either. That doesn't mean, okay, so we just go back and we tell the same story that people liked. To me, that means tell a better story. Tell a story with consequences. Tell a story that I don't quite know what's going to happen. Surprise me. Make me feel something. You know, and they've just not done a good job. They've not, you know, listen, no hate to any of the actors who who probably struggled with, maybe some writing that wasn't that great. In the latest trilogy, right? In the what is it, the Skywalker saga?
Yeah.
Which had almost no Skywalkers.
But there was Rey.
Rey's a Palpatine. It doesn't like your own lore doesn't make sense, but that's okay. That
Rey Skywalker.
Yeah, that's great. I'm Buddy the Elf. So
Hope you find your dad.
Yeah, me too.
My original point is,
yes,
I just want, because a lot of the stuff now is just regurgitating the same shit over and over again. Like, I'm just gonna give you the synopsis for the new Star Wars. I don't know if you've ever seen a trailer or anything, but for the Star Wars Outlaws game, explore distinct planets across the galaxy, both iconic and new. Risk it all as Kay Vess, a scoundrel seeking freedom and the means to start a new life, along with her companion Nyx. I don't know if it's an assassin droid, but whatever. Fight and steal and outwit your way across the galaxy's crime syndicate as you join the galaxy's most wanted. And the game takes place between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. I feel like I've seen this. And the thing is, right, is like, I get it, a lot of the stuff with the Jedi is regurgitated too. But like, I don't know, man. I'm sick of all of it. I just want brand new. And this to me is not like, even with the good games that have come out with like Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, to me, there was a lot of like, okay, I've seen this before. And while it was entertaining, there's still that in the back of my head where I'm like, I just want new. I want new. I want new stuff with new ideas, and maybe I'm alone in that.
No, I don't think you're alone in that. And we might disagree about where exactly certain things pissed us off the most about the Skywalker saga. But I think we can agree that they didn't stick the landing. They could have stuck the landing. They had the right people in the room to do it.
I don't know about that one.
Listen, everyone in there was very capable, right? From the acting talent to good directors. They've directed good movies. A couple of them even directed good Star Wars movies, or at the very least, space movies, right? Like, they didn't have a problem with people's resumes. It's not like they asked, the homeless guy sitting out back to direct a movie for them. No, they didn't. They had people who have capabilities. But I think that there's a pervasive issue. There is a lack of original thought in their writers' room, all the way to their directors and all the way to their executive board. Marvel and Disney, once they acquired it, they stumbled upon an amazing idea. They were going to tell a story that connects and makes you feel as though things matter. That they did a good job with consequence there, right? The first Avengers movie was awesome. We had never seen anything like that. That was amazing, right? Like, oh my gosh, the entire
Damn right.
IP is coming together. That's great. But I think that they learned the wrong lesson. The lesson is not make as many things connect as possible. It's tell a story that has consequences. And they even can be
lay the
positive
groundwork.
consequences.
And lay the
Yeah.
groundwork in a way that everybody can understand it if you are just hopping in for the first time. Like, you did for the first Captain America movie, you didn't need to watch the first Thor, the first Iron Man, or whatever. And even going on with the MCU, you could watch Guardians of the Galaxy and not have to watch Captain America the Winter Soldier. You could watch Captain America Winter Soldier and not have to watch the Avengers movies. Sure. Does following it help understand certain key points here and there? Yeah, but at the end of the day, you didn't need to. Now, with the MCU, we are 30 movies in, and now it's getting to the point of, oh, now I do need to watch the last 3 projects. Oh, now I do need to watch the last show that came out. Thankfully, I don't think Star Wars is actually at that point. I think it's getting to that point. I don't think it's there yet, though. I think that you can still watch The Mandalorian like every other casual that watches it just for Baby Grogu. And you can hop into it and enjoy it. I will say though, Ahsoka is that show where I'm like, okay, you definitely to help you out, you definitely needed to watch Rebels and some Clone Wars to help you out with that show. And as a fan of both shows, I didn't mind that, but looking at it from a casual point of view, oh, you are absolutely so confused. That's not good because then you're alienating your audience.
And you know what?
That's what the MCU is dealing with right now.
And I'm part of that. I'm part of that audience. Like, I'm too old to have watched Rebels and Clone Wars when I was in the demographic, right? And yeah, I went back and I watched some stuff. Like you picked out some episodes for me that I, needed to watch. And I did. I needed to watch those episodes or I would have had no idea what was going on. And to me, that just seems like very emblematic of this problem of everything being so interconnected that you're missing the rest of the galaxy's worth of stories and problems and people who are interesting. We don't need a new Han Solo. There was one Han Solo, and he kicked ass. And now it's time to find somebody new to care and pay attention to. And, Ahsoka's really cool. Like, that's a really cool character. And even though I hadn't watched Rebels and even though I hadn't watched Clone Wars, I knew who Ahsoka was and I knew that it was cool, right? Like, you could have told a story that, hey, we're going to do, 5 or 10 minutes of exposition on who Ahsoka is. You'll probably get it. She's a badass. She's kicking butt all over the galaxy. Great. Right? It doesn't take long. But instead, they decided to tie back and continue to tie back. And I think that in part, the reason that they feel like they need to do that is because they're not confident in the story that they're telling, that it can stand on its own. And that's really sad when you have characters that have been developed, that are compelling, that are interesting, that Ahsoka's story is I mean, it's extremely affirming. It is, it's diverse. You know, we haven't seen a lot of really compelling characters come out that have, can. I'm going to be very careful how I say this.
Well, Ahsoka
Can
as a character is the embodiment of the problems. Well, it's the embodiment of the exact opposite of the problems we have with a character like Rey. There's struggle there. There is things with that character that she's had to overcome, problems. She's not perfect. She is flawed. And she is a character that, is very determined to overcome these odds. But the thing is with Rey, there's really, I'm not saying she's not able to or not wanting to overcome odds per se, but she's not really presented with a whole lot of challenges that takes a lot of struggle to overcome.
Yeah, right. I completely agree. I think, for me, that really seems to be the crux of the issue. And, they had a good character in Ahsoka. They have a good character in Ahsoka. But what they've done there, I think that, you saying that it's kind of the opposite is a great point. You've given her all of these struggles and this really interesting and compelling backstory.
Even a character
She's
like Jyn Erso
she's
from Rogue One has those
right,
problems.
right. But instead you saddled that character and therefore the show itself with so much um literary debt, right? Like you have to pay off so many things in so many ways that you can't pay off just one or two or three in a really compelling way. You have to tie everything back. Everything has to be a reference to something else.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't even shadow real life. Like real life, which is something that I think everyone kind of wants to feel, right? They want to feel a real connection. They want to feel something truly challenging and something that speaks to them. I don't go around my life thinking about random events in 2005 that somehow have gotten me here to today. Like that's not how we think about things. Even in our personal lives, like yeah, like everybody has a history. Everybody has adversity that they've struggled through. But I don't have a little dude monologuing in my head that hey, this is you know 10 years ago when you sneezed and you accidentally knocked a glass over it means this. Like it just doesn't feel real. It feels contrived. And I feel like that they owe both their fan base, and I think that they owe the people that have worked so hard and really done a good job to start telling better stories that connect people with their feelings and with real emotions. And they've fallen flat on that.
You know what's really emotional?
uh no, I don't know what's really emotional.
13-year-old boy setting the historic Tetris record in honor of his dad that recently passed away. That seems like very honorable. But
Hmm.
not to Jane Secker, this bitch. Sky News reporter presenter Jane Secker has been criticized for her negative reaction to the 13-year-old boy setting a historic Tetris record. Earlier this week, Willis Gibson from Oklahoma became the first known person to quote unquote beat the original NES version of the game, reaching such a high level that it caused it to freeze. Willis dedicated this achievement to his father who passed away in December. However, Secker's response to Willis beating the game didn't sit well with viewers. The host told the 13-year-old to, quote, go outside and get some fresh air, as she reported the story. As a mother, I would say step away from the screen, go outside, get some fresh air. Beating Tetris is not a life goal. Now, it's all going to be kind of one bigger topic here. That I think that people over the age of 40 just do not seem to understand that video games is no different than any other form of entertainment. This woman, she's never allowed to watch a movie. Why? Why is she sitting there watching a movie? She can just go outside for the next 2 hours. She can never watch a show. She can never read a book because she's sitting on her ass. Why can't she go outside? Why can't she run a marathon? The way I view this is my form of entertainment is none of your business. If you want to sit there and read, have at it. If you want to sit there and run a marathon, have at it. If you want to sit there and go to the gym for 2 hours, have at it. If I want to sit here and play video games when I'm 13 years old, I can do that. You know why? Because I'm a fucking kid. There's only so much I can do anyway. It's the same people that do the reason these school shootings happen is because kids that play video games. It has nothing to do with the video games. The video games don't cause kids and adults or whoever to be bad people. It doesn't cause them to be pieces of shit. It doesn't cause them to be lazy. It's, first off, the kid was doing it out of good intentions. He wanted to do it for his dad. It is a literal 13-year-old. And this, how old is this one? I gotta look up how old this woman is. Because the thing is, she definitely old enough to know better. She is 51 years old. Shitting on a kid for beating a video game. Like, how low can you get? And I'm sorry, like, this isn't like, oh my God, like, it's not like the worst thing somebody's ever said to somebody. But like this narrative that like video games are like destroying the youth. I hate it. I can't, it's every time there's a tragedy, the first thing that these news stations always do is blame video games or blame movies. You don't hear, actually, no, not even movies. You never hear anybody say, well, is it because they watched Rambo? Is it because they watched Saving Private Ryan? No, it's always because they play GTA or they play Call of Duty. Why? Yeah. What's the fucking difference? Or you never hear, before, it's because they read it's because they read Tom Clancy books. It's because they read this or they read that, or it's because they read some G.I. Joe comics or like what I don't even know if those are a thing anymore. But like you never hear any of that. It's always because they have a controller in their hand. That is why these kids are deranged and they will never do anything with their lives. Beating Tetris is not a life goal. You are 13. Like, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
All right. I'll let you go.
No, go for it, because that was a good rant. That was a good rant. I mean, first off, before I start, Willis Gibson, good on you, buddy. And I'm really sorry about your dad. Like, all right, seriously. Secondly, you, sir, just set a world record. You set a world record that the only other time it's ever been done has been when artificial intelligence has been used to do this. So good for you. Also, you might want to mention that video games have been proven to help hand-eye coordination, to even sometimes help doctors as they do super delicate tasks with human life. Like, man, I don't understand. More than just video games, right? Can we just let people have a little bit of happiness? The dude's been through a lot. He just lost his dad. He's doing this to feel some kind of connection with him, right? Even if he just wants to, give his father who has passed a shout out, something something good that he's done. You know, the thing that's on this 13-year-old young man's mind is that, you know, he wants to pay homage to his father who's passed and who I'm sure he misses very much. And even though he's created this record, right? He's the first person ever to do this thing. Who's he giving the credit to? His dad. He misses him. So for this lady to think that now is a really good time to butt in with some life advice about how you should get some fresh air. Man, you should get some fresh air. Are you kidding me?
And there have been countless studies over the last like 5, 6, 7 years that have literally shown time and time again that video games do not make kids more violent. It has been proven time and time again. And I know this is kind of like a different topic than the main one, but it's just, you know, it's in the back of the head of these people that, like, if these kids keep playing these games, they're going to turn out this way. And I'm not saying that's not what she was that's what she was insinuating, because it's Tetris. But like, it's just this narrative that I can't stand when the research is out there. It has been out there for years, and people are still in that mindset. Like, gaming, like, there are websites dedicated to people watching people play video games. It is such a phenomenon. And it's actually a bigger industry than the movie industry. And people are still like, oh, you play video games? Yeah, so what the fuck is the difference between me doing this for 2 or 3 hours and going to the movies and spending $50 to watch a new movie? What's the difference here? The difference is, in most cases, me spending $60 or $70 on one game that can last me a couple months is a better investment than you going to a movie one time. And I love going to the movies. But I'm just saying that one $500 console and a couple $60 games a year is a way cheaper investment than most hobbies. Playing video games, while yes, it can be abused, anything can be abused. And that's the thing people have to understand is any good thing can be abused. And in this case, why do people not like the fact that people are at home enjoying themselves instead of being out doing dumb shit? You tell me. I don't get the perspective of, oh my god, they're at home enjoying themselves. This isn't good.
Yeah.
They need to get out more and touch grass. Okay, yeah, I understand being active and all that, but it's better than most kids being in terrible situations, not being monitored and what have you. To me, that's a simple well duh answer. That's a duh answer to me. And of course, if you're a parent, you need to regulate the amount of time your kids play video games and all that stuff. Obviously, if they're not doing well in school, you need to regulate that accordingly and all that stuff. But that, and again, it all comes back to the parents. The parents, if you allow your 13-year-old to play an M-rated game, you're a moron. Unless you know they can handle it. Unless you know they can handle it, then by all means. But that's up to the parents. I feel like we always blame this on the kids. This is a parent discussion. Because at the end of the day, these games have ratings on them. These games, like, don't have to be the parent of the kid. You can say, all right, you can only be on a certain amount of time a day, and then you have to go outside for a little bit to kind of balance things out. But people don't think that way. I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but like, it just, there's so many things when it comes to topics, when it comes to how bad video games are, when it comes to violence, how much it's controlling kids, or it shouldn't be a goal to be good at video games, even if you're a 13-year-old. Like, fuck off. I hate these negative narratives.
Yeah, I think that's why people are having such a strong reaction to it, right? It's a wholesome story. It really is. It's a wholesome story. So like somebody set a goal and then achieved it. And you know what? If you don't care about your goal or about somebody else's goal, it's fine. It's still their goal. I am sure that there are lots of things in this woman's life that I really wouldn't have cared about. She's probably into some stuff that I just don't care. It's fine. You know what? If your goal is is something that I wouldn't personally do. By the way, I don't get super excited about playing Tetris. Don't think I've ever played Tetris. I don't care. Maybe we can just calm down and be happy for someone that did a thing that's never been done before. And we can just have a positive story. Please. We have enough negativity in the world. Just let us have a positive story. Come on.
Good job, Willis.
Mr. Willis, awesome stuff, man. I'm sure your dad's proud of you.
And Miss Secker, choke on some dill pickles.
How about this? Miss Secker, maybe you should go outside a little more.
Go do some bird watching or something. What do you...
Now, that actually sounds like fun.
Oh, of course. Of course. Of course you would think bird watching is fun. You remember when Big Macs were $1?
No comment.
Anywho, guys, I think that's going to wrap up this first episode being back. This is we're just kind of testing the waters here, seeing how things flow, just doing a couple topics. And I think overall it's pretty good. We are probably going to do a couple episodes for the next couple weeks, audio only, and then we might transition into a different format. We will see how it goes. But hey, thank you, Ethan, for joining me for this episode. I really enjoyed it. It's and guess what? If you guys have watched previous episodes, you notice that my old co-host Damion, he will be on from time to time. He's just kind of being a fuck right now. So hopefully when he sees this, he'll be like, "Oh dang, I'm gonna stop being a fuck," and then he can get his shit together and then get on an episode. So then it can be me and Damion, all three of us, me and Ethan, myself. We'll figure that out as time goes on. But like I said, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe if you want more content. And we will see you all later. Peace out, guys.
Take her easy, guys. You'll see me on Joe Rogan.